The Ferrari had never sounded so wrong. It coughed once, like a proud animal suddenly embarrassed, then shuddered into a silence that felt final. Ethan Vale sat behind the wheel, fingers still on the leather, staring at the reflection of sky in the hood as if it might explain what had just happened. The road curved away through a rural stretch he had chosen to avoid traffic, a ribbon of asphalt bordered by tall grass and the occasional fence post. No cell signal, no other cars, just the ticking of hot metal cooling and the faint smell of oil. He exhaled slowly. Of all the absurdities, of all the carefully calculated risks in his life, this felt personal. The billionaire who could buy a fleet of Ferraris was stranded beside one, 40 miles from the nearest city, wearing a suit that cost more than some people's cars. He popped the hood and stared inside, as if money alone might reassemble whatever had gone wrong. Great, he muttered, to no one. A crunch of footsteps sounded behind him. Ethan straightened, surprised, and turned to see a little girl standing at the edge of the road. She couldn't have been more than 7 or 8, her dark hair in uneven pigtails, her dress dusted at the hem. She held a plastic dinosaur in one hand like a talisman. She looked at the Ferrari, then at him, eyes wide with curiosity rather than fear. He felt a jolt of alarm. Hey there, he said gently. Are you lost? She shook her head. No, sir, I live right there. She pointed toward a small house set back from the road, partially hidden by trees. Smoke curled lazily from a chimney. Your car is making a sad noise. Despite himself, Ethan laughed. That's one way to put it. She stepped closer, peering under the hood with the seriousness of a mechanic twice her age. It's broken, she declared. I'm afraid so. She leaned in conspiratorially, lowering her voice as if sharing a secret meant only for him. My dad can fix it, the little girl whispered to the millionaire stranded beside her Ferrari. The certainty in her tone was disarming. Ethan hesitated. 1,000 warnings flashed through his mind, the reflexes of a man who had learned caution the hard way. Yet there was something grounding about the scene, the quiet road, the earnest child, the house that looked like it had stood there long before he was born and would stand long after. Is that so? He said. She nodded vigorously. He fixes everything. Tractors, trucks, Mr. Harlan's old boat engine, even Mrs. Pike's washing machine when it tried to eat her socks. That earned another laugh, this one unguarded. Well, I could use some help. She beamed, then ran toward the house, dinosaur bouncing. Daddy, she called. There's a fancy red car that's tired. Ethan watched her go, feeling something loosen in his chest. He had grown up in places like this, before the deals and the headlines, before his life became a sequence of meetings and flights and curated experiences. He hadn't planned on remembering that today. A man emerged from the house moments later, wiping his hands on a rag. He was broad-shouldered, his hair threaded with gray, his face weathered in a way that spoke of sun and honest work. He walked with the unhurried confidence of someone who knew his world and his worth in it. You the one with the Ferrari? The man asked, voice even. Yes, Ethan said, suddenly aware of how ridiculous that sounded. I'm Ethan. Tom, the man replied, offering a firm handshake. My daughter says you're stranded. Accurate. Tom glanced under the hood, his eyes narrowing slightly, not with intimidation but focus. He asked a few questions, listened as Ethan described the symptoms, then straightened. Might take a look, he said. I don't have Ferrari parts lying around, but engines are engines. Ethan nodded. I'd appreciate anything. While Tom fetched tools from a battered shed, the girl, Lily, she announced, sat on the grass and told Ethan about her dinosaur's name, about school, about how her dad made the best pancakes. Ethan listened, genuinely listened, and found himself answering her questions too, simplifying his answers without condescension. He told her the car was fast, yes, but not faster than a cheetah, and that it was red because he liked how it looked in the sun. Tom worked with quiet efficiency, his hands sure. He whistled softly, some tune Ethan didn't recognize. The afternoon stretched, the heat easing as clouds drifted in. For the first time in weeks, Ethan wasn't thinking 3 steps ahead. He was just there. After a while, Tom leaned back. Fuel line issue, he said. Cracked hose. I can rig something temporary to get you to town. Proper fix'll need a replacement. Whatever you can do is more than enough, Ethan said, relief washing through him. As Tom worked, they talked. Not about money or markets, but about the land, about Lily's mother who had passed a few years ago, about the way things break and get fixed and sometimes don't. Ethan found himself talking about his own father, a man who had taught him how to change a tire before he taught him how to read a balance sheet. He hadn't spoken about him in years. When the engine finally turned over, smooth and steady, Lily clapped. See, she said proudly. I told you. Ethan smiled at her. You were right. He reached for his wallet, then stopped. The gesture felt wrong, too transactional for what had just happened. Instead, he pulled out a card and handed it to Tom. If you ever need anything, he said. Anything at all. Tom took it, glanced at the name, then at Ethan's face as recognition dawned. His expression didn't change much, but something like understanding settled there. He nodded once. Safe drive, he said. Ethan got back into the Ferrari, the leather cool now. He hesitated, then rolled down the window. Thank you, he said, to both of them. Lily waved enthusiastically as he pulled away, dinosaur held high. In the rearview mirror, the house grew smaller, then disappeared around the bend. The road back felt different. The Ferrari purred, but Ethan drove slower, letting the world move past him at a human pace. He thought about the girl's confidence, about a father who fixed things not because he was paid to but because someone needed it. He thought about how often he had mistaken complexity for importance. In the weeks that followed, life rushed back in. Deals closed, numbers soared, headlines flashed. Yet something had shifted. Ethan found himself lingering in conversations, asking questions he had once rushed past. He authorized a grant for rural mechanics, training without quite knowing why, then smiled when he realized. One afternoon, months later, he found himself on that same road again. This time, the Ferrari behaved, but he slowed anyway, heart thumping with an inexplicable anticipation. The house was still there, smoke curling from the chimney. He pulled over. Lily was taller now, or maybe it just felt that way. She recognized him instantly. Your car isn't tired today, she announced. No, Ethan said, stepping out. I just wanted to say hello. Tom came out, surprise flickering into a grin. They talked again, easy and unforced. Ethan brought news of the town's new training program, of opportunities that would come without strings attached. Tom listened, nodding, not effusive but appreciative. As the sun dipped, Ethan realized something fundamental. Fixing things wasn't about engines or money. It was about showing up, about believing that broken didn't mean finished. A little girl had whispered a truth he'd forgotten, and it had changed him. When he left that day, it wasn't with the roar of speed, but with a quiet promise to himself, to remember where he'd come from, to let the world be more than a series of problems to solve. Behind him, Lily waved, confident as ever, certain that some things, with the right hands and heart, could always be fixed.